Hi, everybody. Angel here, and hope you're doing great. And today I am super excited to speak with Crystal, and we are going to get started very soon. And if you're already following Crystal, I suggest you give her a follow, check out what she's doing here on Instagram. And hi there, how are you?
Hey, good you?
Doing great, thanks. Thanks so much for taking the time.
No problem. Anytime, Angel.
Awesome, awesome. Well, great to see you. Thank you to anyone else who's joining, either live or on the replay.
Yeah.
And and as I was saying, also, if you are not yet following Crystal, please follow her. I have pinned her Instagram page here at the bottom. And hi there. Good to see
Hey,
you, Jen.
Jen. Jen's
Awesome.
here. Woo-hoo.
Let's get this party started. We
Let's
have
do it.
so much to talk about. So again, thank you so much for taking the time there, Crystal. I want to give a shout out to Jen because thanks to Jen, I met you and a bunch of your other colleagues. So thank you so much for that, Jen, as well. And we have another one, Crystal Elizabeth. You have a fan club going here, Crystal.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining.
I know,
And
it's so
so,
fun.
yeah, and as we go along, please put your questions and comments down below for Crystal, and she'll be happy to answer.
Absolutely.
And while we wait for those comments and questions to come in, Crystal, I think we should just jump right in and get started because we have a lot to cover. And my first topic is your mindset coaching journey. How did you start becoming interested in this arena? And how did your journey take you from, I guess, from that beginning to where you are now, please?
Okay, so do I have about 4 hours? No, I'm joking.
Actually, as far as I know, Instagram Live does let you go for about 4 hours.
Oh darn. Okay, no,
Yeah,
we're not going to do that because I think we all have things that we have to do. But
yeah.
so first of all, I want to thank you so much for asking me to join you on here. I really appreciate it. I love having the opportunity to share what I've learned with people like you guys on Instagram, on Facebook. I love doing these things so much. So thank you so much for having me. Okay, well, just like let's try to make a long story short, but like keep it to the important parts. So I'm 41 years old. I don't mind throwing it out there because I started living my best life, I think probably at around 37. And it was probably one of the scariest things for me because going into your 40s, you're kind of like, oh my God, like, what am I doing? Am I doing the right thing? Where, like, what's happening, right? And so my journey into like the I guess health, wellness, mindset, and all of that kind of stuff started so many years back, but I didn't really understand the impact that it had and how I was able to have way more control on the things that were happening in my life had I had the tools and been able to harness the ability to really work on my mindset. So just I'm a very positive person. That's kind of my thing. But I would say maybe 20 years ago, I was a little bit more on the toxic positive side. I spent a lot of my time thinking it's all going to be okay. It's all going to be okay. It's all going to be okay. And I kind of lived my life like that, not realizing that, we have a lot more control than we actually realize, to program ourselves, to change the way that we're doing things, to shift our mindsets, to making positive behavioral changes. And, a lot of the times we take the outside thinking the outside is what is doing it for us, but ultimately it really comes down to what's inside. So I spent about 15 years, I think I was 22 or 23 years old when I got my first job in a bank. I had gone to the banking industry because I was looking for something that was going to be, a stable job, good
Yeah.
environment, a place that I was able to grow. Because I had a very interesting, like teenage, mid, like early adulthood life where I didn't have, I felt like I didn't have the opportunities. I actually can change that now and said I didn't take the opportunities because at the end of
Right.
the day, it was really ultimately my choice. But fear stopped me from doing a lot of things. I know.
I can relate.
I know. And I think there's a lot of people out there can relate. And the more and more I speak with people, women and men, this is a crazy thing because, you know, as a woman myself, like I obviously associate myself with other women out there,
Yeah.
but more and more I have a lot of male clients, and the men out there feel the same thing. They just relate to it very differently than women. And they often don't put themselves in that same, they don't put it in the same, I guess, bracket. They don't put it in that same envelope. So I started working at the bank. I climbed the corporate ladder. I spent about 15 years in there. And throughout that time, I was like, I have a great job. I have a great career. I should be really happy with what I have. I shouldn't complain. I shouldn't, you know, and it wasn't so much about complaining as it was knowing inside of me somewhere that I was not happy. And I wasn't able to pull on it because I spent so much time trying to do what I had to do and not what I really wanted to do. I knew I always wanted to help people. So I took my role in the banking industry as a way for me to help people. And so, you know, I became, you know, client facing. I worked with clients. I helped them with their finances. And then I became a leader, a manager. I had teams under me. And I found that the biggest joy that I had was in, you know, helping people succeed. And so I kind of turned into a coach back then.
Amazing.
Didn't know what it was, but that's kind of what I had become. And fast forward, living the life, right? Living the perfect life. I've got the house, I've got the car, I've got the husband, I've got my family, I've got everything that I could possibly ever want. And things just weren't physically going well. You know, I gained about 30 pounds. I suffered from a lot of allergies. I suffered from a lot of, you know, premenstrual syndrome problems. Like I had it all, like allergies, everything. Like I was taking 20 milligrams of like allergy medication. And so I slowly but surely started to look at the holistic side of things. Like, okay, I don't want to be on pills for the rest of my life. What do I got to do? I never associated my particular problem with stress. Yeah. I always associated it. I know. I always associated it with having out of control hormones. And so I initially saw my first coach for hormonal help. And that was about 7 or 8 years. I think it's about 8 years ago. Her name was Natalie Dick. She was amazing. I worked with her for almost 6 months. She actually fired me after 5 months because she's like, you know what to do. Like, just go ahead and do it. That was the funniest experience ever. And
I love that. I love it. You know why I love it, sorry, because I think there's like a bond that is created between the coach and the coachee, and it's like we don't want to leave them, you know? Like I know that's how I am with people who coach me. I'm like, yeah, but I still want to stay. Like I know I probably don't need as many regular sessions, quote unquote, but it's like we don't want to let go.
Well, when you start on the learning path, you never want to get off that train. And it's great. You know, one of the things that I used to do, I used to read a lot of books. I used to like do a lot of research myself, but there's something to be said. My coach recently said that every relationship between a coach and their coachee is a reversal of the relationship. So they become coached by their coachee.
Yeah.
So
cool.
I've realized that too, because throughout the process of me doing what I do now, which I haven't got to yet, but doing what I do now, every single person that I have the opportunity, the pleasure of working with has taught me something in every single aspect of my life, because I've been able to look at things and analyze myself and really do that inner work on my own personal mindset throughout the whole process. So it's a give and take relationship. It's
I love that.
It's like yin and yang. Like every person that comes to you is your perfect balance.
Oh.
I know.
That makes me feel better because I'm thinking I'm probably not the easiest person to coach, to be honest.
But you know, the fact that you go into these coaching sessions, it means that you're coachable.
Yeah, that's true. No, you're right. You're
barriers.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
You know, sometimes we think we're in one place. I remember a couple of weeks ago, I actually 2 days ago, I had a coaching session with my coach, and I realized that I had bigger blocks than I actually thought I did. We were doing something it was a very metaphysical kind of coaching that we were doing. And, you know, she would make me say things out loud. And if I leaned forward, then I was in agreement. And if I leaned backwards, I was in disagreement. Ooh. And the 3 things that I literally almost jumped backwards, I couldn't believe it. And so again, you know, that. We are forever evolving. And I think in the world of the coaching industry, I don't think people understand the value of having somebody hold you accountable to the things that you desire.
That's huge. That
Mm-hmm.
is huge.
Yeah, desire is
Oh,
big. And you know, we don't
yeah.
use that word often enough in our lives because people think, oh, if I desire something, it's negative. We have a lot of
Yeah.
negative connotations
Yeah.
with that
Yeah.
word. And when we start to shift that conversation into, when we shift that conversation into, uh, we just have to change that conversation. And like the words that we use have power. And if we put positive meaning behind things, they're going to look very differently than if you have a negative connotation. And that brings us to limiting beliefs. And we'll go there. We'll go
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I have my little note scribbled at the bottom for anyone who's wondering, just to keep me on
Yeah.
track here.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry. I got a couple of notes on the side too, but we've already gone way off track then. But it's
It's
all good.
okay. It's
So
okay. We're
back to my
good.
journey. I
Yeah,
spent some
yeah.
time with a coach, and I actually was able to heal a lot of the hormonal issues, the allergies. I got rid of it all, and a lot of the things that I changed was slowing down a little bit. And again, I still, after that 6 months, I did not associate my biggest problems with stress. You know, and we're talking about physical problems. Like we're talking about gaining 30 to 50 pounds. We're talking about allergies. We're talking about huge like hormonal shifts before, you know, your cycle. And, you know, those are not normal things. And we normalize them as normal, but they're not normal.
I am so grateful. I just want to say, Chris, I'm so grateful that you're making this connection out loud for all of us
Mm-hmm.
between stress and like the physical symptoms. Because, for example, let's say, you know, like myself, I coach people like more on the diet and lifestyle side,
Yeah.
and a lot of people come and think that. Oh yeah, well they need to cut calories or they need to exercise more, etc. And sure, those are awesome you know, elements, I guess, in the
Mm-hmm.
whole package. But like you're saying, like we just don't realize what role stress plays on hormones and
Yeah.
digestion and sleep. And then of course that goes back to the hormones, you
Yeah.
know.
And you're never going to believe what she had recommended. I had to stop all workout. I had to stop all working out. All working out completely.
Amazing.
Because you know your system is on the go. It's on adrenaline constantly. It's 24/7, right? We wake up, our cortisol levels are, and we're living in a world now. We're living in a world now that we're always on.
Totally.
And
Totally.
you know, when we're on like that. So for me, that was the beginning part of my journey. Now, fast forward a little bit. In 2017, I suffered a massive burnout. And I was one of those people that never believed in burnout. I had teams underneath me, and I'm going to say it out loud, and I'm embarrassed, but I'm going to say it out loud because I'm sure that there are leaders out there that think the same way and are hoping to change they're hoping to change their mindset. I was that one that would think in my head, I don't understand why you're taking time off. Why do you need time off? Your life is not that tough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we all do it.
We
Suck it up.
minimize. We
We minimize.
minimize. Yeah.
And I'm embarrassed to say it, but at the
No, no,
same time,
no.
it's so important to say it because this is how I am. This is how I am going to continue to change the world. For me, people need to be able to see the shitty parts of themselves, to be able to take them and convert them into something that's their superpower, and that's what it's become. So my burnout was it was pretty bad. I was suicidal. I remember the day that I went to my doctor like it was yesterday. It's still one of the most painful memories that I have. I spent the whole month of December in 2017 contemplating my life. Like, it was bad. And I went back to work after about 3 months, and I went back more powerful. But actually, let's rewind again. I was nothing without my job.
Yeah. It's our identity.
It's our identity.
Yeah.
And I forgot who I was. I didn't even know who I was because I started at the bank when I was like 23 years old. Before that, I had been working since I was 13 years old. I had a very interesting upbringing, a beautiful story for another date. But you know, one thing just leads to another, and my identity became me, the banker. I'm the manager. I'm the project manager. I'm the subject matter expert. And when I had to take the time off, I had nothing. because I didn't have my job
Ah,
anymore. So the second
yes.
I didn't have my job anymore, I had nothing. And
Yes.
although I had a beautiful life still, I had a great job still, I had the ability to be on medical leave, I have a family, I had all of these things, I didn't know who Crystal was.
Yeah.
And I didn't
We
even,
get lost. We get wrapped up in that.
yeah, we really do. And I got, I went back to work and I decided, I was like, I'm going to be honest about this. And I'm like, I'm going to go back to work and I'm going to tell people, you know, like I suffered a massive burnout, like
Yeah.
I'm recovering now. I'm doing things to change, but I still didn't have that, the recipe,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
recipe for how to get out of it and how to change my own mindset around what it is, what I was doing. Um, it was a disaster for me going back. It was very painful. I went from being the subject matter expert to not being the person that people called anymore. And so again, I was still rebuilding my identity. And I was like, what is my identity? Who is Crystal without her job? I made the decision personally that I was going to leave that job. And it's not an easy decision to make. And
I
it's not
know.
a decision that I would say that everybody needs to make. But I knew that if I continued the way that I was going, I would never change. I needed drastic change. At the time, I didn't have a coach. I was
Yeah.
seeing a therapist.
Yeah.
Very different modality.
Yeah.
I applaud the profession, and
I
I think that
agree.
it's super important to do both things in life. We
Mhm.
should all be able to touch base with the
I
people in our
agree.
lives that support us. And so at that time, I didn't have a coach. I had a psychologist. I had my
Yes.
doctor. I had a beautiful medical team that was helping me.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like going back to my job would have been something that I could do. So I decided to leave my very comfy 6-figure job with benefits and bonuses and basically all the perks of, you know, having a job that's going to give you everything,
Yeah.
um, and the comfort. Oh, it
Yeah.
was
And it's
15.
very secure too, like that security.
Yeah, it was 15 years I was working for the bank. It was like, it, again, my identity, my security, it was everything of who I was. So I left I left that job. I took about 2 weeks off before I ended up starting another job. So again, another job, completely different domain. It was in real estate. I
Ah.
became an executive assistant for a real estate broker. I enjoyed real
Ah.
estate. It was a lot of fun. But at that time, I was really just looking for a step back. I needed to rebuild
Mm.
who I was. I spent a year really learning about myself, trying to figure out like, what do I want in life? What's really important to me? Who am I? And then I started to pick up things like started boxing, and then I remembered that I love to dance and that I love to, you know, have a social life. And I stopped identifying myself with my job, and I started to identify myself with the things that I love. And that changed something in me. And so we're talking like 2017 was when I burn out. 2018, I left the bank. 2019, in August, I ended up quitting my job with nothing to fall back on because I realized I wasn't happy and I wasn't in line with what it is that I wanted to do. I didn't feel like my soul was being fulfilled. And I think that that was the first time I realized that we're bigger, like we're bigger than our jobs, we're bigger than everything, and we have to be doing things in life that make us happy. And so I quit my job. Thank you so much, Kenny. I appreciate it so much. He says, love your openness. You know, I'm an open book, and that's something that I never was. There were things about me that I would be open book about, but it was more, I'm going to throw this in your face kind of like
Here it is.
whatever doesn't kill me only makes me stronger.
Here it is.
And instead I started living my life more authentically. And 24 hours after I quit my job, I was hospitalized.
Oof.
And so I was taken into the emergency room, and within 2 weeks, I had to have emergency surgery to remove a mass in my intestine.
Oh my.
And I was like, what the heck is this mass? And they're like, we don't know. We have to do like exploratory surgery, remove it, see what it is. Turns out that it was a tumor that had been growing on my intestine for probably about 15 years.
Oh dear
It was
Lord.
benign. It was
Good.
non-cancerous. It was just like they have no explanation for how it ended up happening. And then it clicked. For the last 15 years, I've lived my life in inauthenticity.
Mm-hmm.
I've been living my life for everybody else. I've been living my life with stress.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally released it. Me quitting that job was releasing.
That's powerful.
It is powerful. And so it was
Oh
the
my
first time in my
God.
life, like I said, I've been working since I was 13.
Mm-hmm,
I was what, 38, 39, 38, 39,
mm-hmm,
38. I was
mm-hmm.
38 years old and I was freaking out because I was like, oh my God, like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. But like, first time I'm off work.
Yeah.
I've got unemployment and I'm like, okay, what do I do here? So again, I went from six-figure salary to $50,000 salary to $20,000 a year on unemployment.
Right, right, right.
But I had never been happier in my life.
Oh, I was waiting for that. I was like, is this where this is going? I seriously, I was like, I think she's gonna be happier.
Yeah. And so I actually took 3 months. So from like August to October-ish, literally just thinking like, what do I want to do? Who do I want to be? Like what did I want to be? And then I went back to, this is funny. I went back to what I wanted to be when I was a kid. And I was like,
Oh,
you know what? Children know. They intrinsically know deep down inside when they say something out loud, like, when a kid says that they want to be a video game programmer, well, guess what? Chances are they're going to be something to do with something like that, maybe, maybe not their first go around, but it might be their second or third go around. And I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a dancer, and I wanted to be a politician.
oh my. Oh my. Now that's a
So
combo.
I was like, how am I going to, so I'm like, okay, I started researching, like going back to med school or going to get my naturopathic, doctor's degree, something holistic, right? Because being a doctor for me is like a lot about the science, but I really believed in like the holistic part of things because I started to understand that like we are more than the science behind this. Like everything works its magic through us. I love what Jen just said, living from the soul and the authenticity. And then we have, as a corporate executive who could never imagine relating to Crystal, working with her and completely reprogrammed how I love you, Lee. Thank you. You're the best. Those are the sweetest comments. Love
And,
you.
and also earlier, Jen was talking about the following, and she said because your vata dosha was out of balance, too much air. I believe that could be true.
Oh, 100%. And that's what I'm saying. It's like going through the holistic journey of things. Like I'm coming to that too. So I decided, I was like, I'm going to be a Zumba instructor because I love to dance. So I was like, let me do my Zumba teacher training. And then I found the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And so I ended up going to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, which is a school out of New York, run by Josh Rosenthal. He's kind of like one of the forefathers of the coaching practice and, putting together a school. It was a full online program, and I found it 2 days before the semester was starting.
That's beautiful. Now that's perfect timing.
Yeah. And that's the crazy thing is that when things start to fall into place, everything falls into place. When you start living your most true, authentic self, everything falls into place. It happens easily. When things feel hard, it means that we need to take a step back and analyze. It doesn't mean that hard is bad. It doesn't mean that hard is bad because, the fear of things will push us through, like there's something on the other side. But when it starts to feel bad, when you get that gut intuition inside of you that there's telling you that there's something wrong, we need to listen to it. And we need to listen to it on both sides. And that's what I had lost over those 20 years. I lost my intuition. I stopped listening to myself. I stopped knowing who I was and knowing that I had the answers. And so,
and I think that gets back to what you were saying earlier too. It's like we tap into like what society is saying and what other people are saying and it's even like and it's even like how you were saying, let's say you're young and you want to go into profession, I don't know, A, but your family wants you to go into profession B, so then you go into profession B, but
you hate it. And then you waste 10 years and then you're like, why didn't I do this before? But here's the thing. That's what I do now. I help people through those things. I want to touch so many people's lives and get them to start listening to themselves and, creating that opportunity to learn how to say no, even to the people we love, with the best intentions, because the people that love us have the best intentions. They do. But we have to spread our own wings to take our own flight. We're the only person that has the flight path that's right for us. Nobody else can give us that.
I agree.
And so when I found that school, I was like, oh my God, I love this. I'm going to help everybody. And then, and then I was like, I don't want to work with people like only around food, right? Like fruit, because you go to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, people automatically think they're like, okay, it's a nutrition program. And yes, there is nutrition in there, but we learn everything from, like Jen was saying, you know, Ayurvedic practices. We learn about like mind body connection, gut health, mind health. We learn about Chinese traditional medicine. We learn about we learn about traditional medicine. We learn about how all of that comes together to create this big, beautiful world that we live in, that is inside of ourselves. And so I started my practice in 2020. Go figure. I started my practice in 2020, and I took my first clients. I took a couple of pro bono clients to see, you know, how. Oh yeah, Raw Adorable is saying I've always wanted to take their classes. Well, yeah. Honestly, if you've been thinking about it, you can hit me up. I will be happy to talk to you for like whatever time you want, 30 minutes, an hour. I don't care. I'll talk to you about it. I can give you a link. I'll tell you about my experience, no problem. But it was really probably one of the best experiences that I had. It was the first time I invested in myself.
Wow. See, that's huge too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I didn't understand the value in investing. I remember that when I invested in my first coach, my primary thing was like, oh, I have insurances, it's going to cover it. Oh. It wasn't about it coming out of my pocket and me doing the work, right? It was like, okay, I'm doing this. So again, I got value from it, yes, but I didn't get the same value as if I would have really said, I am doing this. It's going to be, you know, the right thing, and I'm going to move forward to do it. And so like, I don't want to be one of those people that says like, you have to invest in yourself to actually get the results. That's not true. I've given plenty of free programs, and my clients have come back saying like, like this is amazing. But I've also seen other people that do programs like that are free. Yeah, they don't get it. We get the free workshop, we get the free papers, you know, we try to do all the things, and it doesn't necessarily always work. Yeah. So yeah, go ahead. You had a question.
No, I was gonna say, you know, I've recently learned the phrase, when you pay attention. And that's why I think like getting back to what you were saying, I think sometimes when it is free, we take it for granted. I know I can speak for myself. Yeah. Sometimes when it's free, I really kind of minimize it and think, oh, well, you know, it must not be that great if it's free. So, but when you're paying for it, you're invested, like you were saying, you're really invested in it. Yeah. You know, financially, emotionally, physically, etc. I personally think that we do pay more attention when we pay, but you know, that's it's not a blanket statement.
No,
but
because I've done some really amazing free programs too, because I've really wanted it. But guess what? Those free programs turned into me working with some of the best coaches. I've done as many free master classes as I've done coaching in my life. And yeah, Jen said, "Oh, I like that. When you pay attention. You really do. It's definitely the truth."
Yeah. Oh, we have another comment. Starting to invest in yourself is so important. I feel the earlier in life someone recognizes it, the better it is for the people in your life. The best you is the best for your world. Yeah.
Oh my God. That is so very true. And you know, I wish I would have invested in myself sooner, but I figured that, you know what, I personally needed to go through what I went through to become the best version of myself today. Yes. And only up until last week did I have gratitude for all of the bad things that have ever happened to me in my life. Yeah. You know, we forgive, we go back and we realize like whatever doesn't kill me makes me stronger. But last week I learned with my coach to have gratitude for those moments, to truly hold gratitude for all of the things, good or bad, because they put you in a position to where you are today. And we are capable of continuing to, like, you know, make that. I always reference the snowball because I say this all the time. So small steps, big wins. This is my motto.
I love that.
That small, tiny step that you take towards your best life is the best step that you can take. And it's only the beginning, because it snowballs. A snowball picks up speed and it moves down. It's like a domino effect. You move one domino, all the other dominoes go. And, you know, and so that's how I started my practice. I took a couple pro bono clients, but then I realized, hey, I have something more here. I have something more to give. And that's why I decided to specialize with stress, anxiety, and burnout, because I didn't associate myself with the stress. I didn't realize that a lot of the things that I was living and doing was all related to the stress that I was holding inside of me. And, you know, there are ways to get out of that. And so my goal is to get you away from that burnout, either pull you back from where you're going, or pull you out of it, and have that support system around you to be able to help to hold you accountable to changing the things. Because the only person or the only thing that you can change is you.
Yeah.
Only you.
Yeah. And I think what you're saying too, though, Crystal, is so important, because I know when I worked in corporate America and in that whole arena, you know, it was like a badge of honor to be
Oh,
busy. You know, like the busier we were, the more, I don't know, like the more important we were, you know, the more, you know, applauded we were. You know, and so I do think that the whole, you know, busy thing is really it's like overrated, quite frankly, and it gets us into trouble. It gets
it
us into
does.
trouble, you know, where we have to always seem to be busy, because if we're not busy, then that means that we're slackers, you
Or
know?
we're not successful, or we're not going to be
Yeah.
successful.
Yeah, and then of course, like you're saying, you know, that snowballs and picks up momentum to the point where we don't have hobbies. We've like, you know, we don't have great relationships with our families. We
Yeah.
don't have great relationships with ourselves. You know, our nutrition sucks, our
Yep.
sleep cycles suck, you know, our whole movement, fresh air, exercise, all that sucks.
Yeah.
You know, and, so, and like you say, we become more and more alienated from ourselves. So I think this is a really big connection, and I think, you know, what's so key with what your journey, you know, unfortunately you went through some tough times, and I
Yeah.
think what is really important is that you can now relate to other people who had similar
Yeah,
struggles.
absolutely. And that's kind of my superpower. I like to call it my
Yeah.
superpower, because I can truly empathize. I can truly be there and, you know, hold space, because that's what coaching is all about. It's about holding a safe space for somebody to allow them to really start to explore deep inside themselves.
No
Uh,
judgment.
no judgment whatsoever. It doesn't matter the cone of silence that I have with a client. You know, whether it's it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're a mother, whether you're a father, whether you're in corporate America or you're a teenager. It doesn't matter who you are. We all need that space. Like I wanted to start working with men. That was one of the biggest things. I wanted to start working with men because I feel like, you know, especially with men, there's a lot of pressure. There's a pressure with women, don't get me wrong. Like,
Yeah,
but
but it's different.
it's a very different kind of pressure. And, you know, I see my husband, you know, because, you know, he's my inspiration for wanting to work with men. But there's so much of a stigma around men being strong and being the provider and putting their needs at the side to be able to make sure that they take care of everybody else. They want to be masculine for their wives. They don't want to cry in front of the women that they love, right? And
And some men are uncomfortable
of
with
course,
tears.
of course. And so,
I've had two men in my life who have said they just really don't know what to do when someone starts to cry.
yeah, they freak out. They
They
they because
do.
they've never been in a situation like that. And so, you know, for me, the whole aspect of changing your mindset and changing your life, you know, we've heard it all, you know, change your mind, change your life. And it is totally the truth. It is your truth. And again, going back to the we can't change outside circumstances. The only thing that we can change is within us. We can change our reactions to things. We can change our perceptions of how, you know, again, I'm being coached and I'm learning how to be non-judgmental, which is crazy because I didn't even realize that I was being judgmental.
It's natural.
It
It's
is natural.
natural.
And, you know, so we do it in our
Yeah.
personal life. I don't do it with
Yeah.
my clients. I hold
No,
space
right.
with them, but we do it
Right,
in our
right.
personal life. And I can tell you in the last 3 weeks of my life has changed because of the perception that I take, and I allow more space for the people that I love
Yeah.
to hold their space. When you hold space for somebody and you let them just be who they need to be without any judgment, without any pain or anything, it really just, it changes everything.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
for
that's
me,
beautiful.
mindset is everything. Mindset is definitely everything.
Yeah, and we're going to dive a little bit deeper into
Yeah.
mindset. I want
Yeah.
to thank everybody who is chiming in here in the chat. As they say, the chat is where it's at. Crystal, so
Yeah.
many good points is
Yeah.
one comment. Everything starts in the mind. Our whole outside life is just a reflection of what is going on inside our head. That's for
Boom.
sure. we need a
Boom.
we need a billboard and a t-shirt with that.
That's definitely. So I have to say, Jen is really good at putting perfect words to things. Like she does it every time. I think I need to be like constantly writing down everything she says to me, because like she takes some of the words that I say sometimes, and wow, she's like a master wordsmith. You're
I
a wordsmith.
love that, Jen. That is so beautiful. I love that. And so as we wait for more comments and questions to flow here, I want to ask you, Crystal, if you would share with us, please, what are the types of coaching services that you offer?
Okay, so I have my one-on-one coaching program, that's my baby. I started with my one-on-one coaching program, and I work with people over a period typically of 3 months. The way that I work with them is very because stress and mindset work take a lot of energy, and oftentimes coming into my programs, there's a definite energy dump. Let's just say.
Good point.
Working with my one-on-one clients, most of the time I work with them on a bi-weekly basis over the course of 3 weeks. In a typical session, we'll meet for about 50 minutes. And there's a lot of energy that happens, a lot of energy work. Like, coming out of a session, sometimes it's like, you just want to go to sleep. You want to take a nap,
It's
or
exhausting.
there's a lot of emotions. You're thinking a lot.
Exhausting.
And so by the time somebody has the opportunity to take the first steps, we've already gone 4 days in after the session, right? So the time that it takes for you to actually like move through the things that you want to work on, if we were to have our next meeting in 7 days, there would only be maybe 2 or 3 days that you would start to incorporate those new habits into your life. Oh. So by having a 2-week span between the sessions, I find typically in my stress less program, it has been, I would say, life-changing for my clients. It's been life-changing for me to watch the growth that my clients have throughout their journey. And 3 months is technically a really, really good sweet spot of time to work with somebody. Don't get me wrong. I've had clients come back for another 3 months and another 3 months after that. Sometimes they take breaks of 6 months and then they come back after that. And that's okay too, because this is allowing them to take those growth steps. And often they don't come back with the same things.
Ah, that's a good point.
I've had a client come to me for her career, right? Taking new steps in her career, setting boundaries in her life, like learning how to say no after 5 o'clock, and, knowing how to, just turn off the clock and say, you've done a good job, and you don't need somebody else to pat you on the back. You need to know that inside of yourself.
That's so huge.
And then she came back 3 months after our first 3-month session, and then we started working on relationships.
Oh, I love that.
And, it changes. It's forever evolving. And so I love that modality. I have another program that is for entrepreneurs who are wanting to, so that one's called the Executive Reset. And that's specifically for people who are entrepreneurs. They have their own business. They're doing all the things, but like that meme says, like, oh, I left my 9 to 5 to work 24/7.
Yeah.
I don't believe in that at all.
I agree. It's not healthy either.
And we're not going to normalize that in life. And as an entrepreneur, you make your schedule, you make your boundaries, you set your goals, you set your parameters, and it's important for you to realize, why are you doing this?
The why.
Why are you doing what you do? And so that's a 12-week program, but for entrepreneurs, it's a little quicker.
Okay.
12-week program, week by week. We go week by week, and that's definitely way more action. It's action items to like get them kicked off in the right direction. Like that's even setting up strategies for their business. Like, what's not working for you? Oh, I get calls here, there. Okay, so what are you going to do? How are you going to fix this? And we put plans together and we implement steps. I have a couple of people that are currently going through that program, and let me tell you, the boss moves they are making are amazing. And
I love that.
And they're balancing that business that they love with their personal life that they love, and they're creating this beautiful ball of energy, and they're now creating the life that they wanted to live when they started their business. Yeah, so I have also a workshop that's going to be coming up. That's going to be a program that's going to be all about self-love and having that be the first step in their game, right? Because we don't
That's
realize
huge.
I didn't love myself. I thought I loved myself, but I
Well, you
didn't
put
really love
others
myself.
before yourself too, and that's not really love. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like sacrifice and
Mm-hmm.
fear. It's
It is.
fear.
We fear
You
that
know,
we're
it's
going to
the
lose the
opposite of
people.
love. Yes, yes, it's the opposite of
It
love.
is. And that oh my God, it's so funny that you said that. Like, but so there's the self-love workshop, but I'm also working on my group coaching program, and it's called Oxygen.
Oh, oh,
You know,
say
when you
that
get on that
again, say
plane,
that again, say that again,
oxygen. It's called
say,
oxygen.
oh,
Oxygen, baby. You get on that plane, and what do the stewardesses, the flight attendants tell you? Ladies and gentlemen, if in case of an emergency, when that comes down, you need to put it on yourself first before you do anything for anybody else. And it's an extreme circumstance, but
I
I
know.
will tell you that most people do that. They do the complete opposite in every
Yeah,
single thing that they do in life.
yeah,
They put their kids first. They put their husbands first.
yes.
They put everybody else first, and they forget about themselves. And literally, they can't breathe.
Mm.
And so that group coaching program is probably going to be launched, I would say, mid-July.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, so a lot of really good things coming through.
I just want to applaud you, honestly. First of all, that name is so appropriate. I mean, I had no idea. Okay, like seriously, like just so everybody knows, like Crystal and I have not discussed
No.
this at all. I was just thinking how fear and love are just like the opposite vibrations, the opposite energies, and I've been, thinking about that quite a bit just in my whole, sphere of reality. And
Yes.
I really applaud you for that because I think it's such a powerful, image and analogy, and I also applaud, those who do put others before themselves. I really do. I'm not saying that I encourage them to do it, but I really do admire people who do that because that is a great, generosity. And I
Yeah.
know that we are, raised to, otherwise we're considered selfish and things like that,
Yeah.
or ambitious or something like that. So,
And
but
when did
I,
ambitious and self-care is not selfish? Like, it's so crazy. Again, back to what Jen says, the words are so powerful.
I
Words are so
agree.
powerful. And when we choose those words in a negative connotation, let me tell you, they can destroy. There's a really good
Yeah.
question up on here, and I'm scared if I touch my screen that I'm gonna turn something off. So
No worries.
do
You
you
want me
see?
to read it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you can, if you can.
So no worries, and I know it's different when you're the guest.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was surprised when I was a guest a few weeks ago, and I was like, but this looks different than when
It
I'm
looks really
hosting.
different. And one time it happened to me, Angel. I literally tried to slide the screen, and I hung up. I got out.
Oh yeah,
I had
I don't know. I don't know why they did it like
I don't
that,
know. And
but
hello, Instagram, you need to fix it.
I agree.
Hello, knock
Hello.
knock. So can you find that
Yes,
comment
I'm
and
going
bring
to
it back
read.
up?
Yes, super. So it says, Crystal, you mentioned before your husband is a big inspiration. Can you share who is your biggest inspiration as a female in your life? I believe the people that inspire you is a reflection of who you want to be like.
Oh, wow. Okay. So this is a very big question because for the longest time, I didn't have inspiration from somebody, from a female. And that was probably one of my biggest blocks for my career is that, especially in money, in the corporate world. And I'm sorry if you're out there and you're in the corporate world, I am not putting any judgment anywhere, but it
No,
is a
no.
very masculine energy that women hold in the corporate world.
And I don't think anyone is going to dispute that.
So we go into this corporate America, corporate Canada, wherever the heck you're living, you're going into this corporate workplace, and it is a very masculine energy driven business. And so women
Yes.
in that industry, unfortunately, lead with that masculine energy.
Yes.
And it is not a very positive it's not a very positive example.
Yes,
I
I
used to look
agree.
at some of the women and I was like, wow, you're amazing. But then I would hear them talk to their people and I was just like, oh, this is horrible. Like, how are you really speaking to people? What's happening here? And so for the longest time, I didn't have any female inspirations in my life. I will say this, I have this up on my wall right over here, this painting.
Uh-huh.
So it's a woman. She's my mother-in-law, actually.
Oh, how
And
beautiful.
she's sitting in a chair and she's cross-legged with her hand in her forehead. And my father-in-law had this commission, from what I understand, because that's the way he remembers seeing his wife. You know, she was always head in hand. And I remember when I was starting my business, I found the painting again, and I said, she is the reason why I'm doing this. Because she was that woman. She was that woman doing everything, not living her true authentic self. And she was a wonderful woman. I had an amazing time with her while she was in my life. And I wouldn't want anybody to feel the way that I know I felt and the way that I have heard that she's felt. And, I truly, it's her. That's Marie's right there. It's my mother-in-law. So
Amazing.
she has become my inspiration for doing what I do on the side of the women. And I've been lucky enough again, going back to mindset, right? I know where a lot of my mindset issues are. So I had a very big money mindset issue.
Yes.
So imagine trying to start a business and not being able to charge people for your
Yeah,
service.
I know, because we feel badly like, yeah, but that's too much. No, no.
Exactly. Exactly. And so I found, so Melanie Ann Layer, I don't know if you've ever heard of her. She's one of my coaches. I did a couple of her programs. She's actually a Montreal-based coach. And I was lucky enough to be in one of her programs where she had $1 million day.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And not only did she have $1 million day, but she is such a beautiful soul. She's a beautiful soul. She truly cares. She gives from her heart, whether it's a free program or a paid program. You would not be able to tell the difference. And she was one of the people that I started to be able to say, hey, let me stand back over here. Like, she's doing good work. She's a good person. She's leading with her female energy. She's leading with love, and she's leading with passion. And so I did one of her programs called Exponential Wealth. And it's all about the money mindset. And I was able to start really learning from her. And I could see now that she's an amazing woman that has an incredible business that, as of May 2022, that's what we are right now.
Uh-huh.
She's crossed over $11 million for her year, helping women all over the world.
Brava,
And
brava.
like, I've never seen that. And then, I've made new friends like you and like Jennifer, strong, heart-driven leaders and women who are passionate, and who are doing the things that they need to do, that have their soul completely aligned with it. Like, soul connection to what it is that you're doing with your business has to be there, because then then you'll make money, right? And yeah, go ahead.
I think, yeah, I think it's just like, it's natural. It's like I learned I just want to share this. I learned a phrase from a woman who has a decluttering business.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, and she was basically, so I became obsessed with Instagram lives in 2020 when the world went upside down,
Yeah.
because we were indoors a lot, and I just became obsessed with them, and I just discovered her. I don't know how. And in summary, one day I tuned in and she said something like, she charges for her services because it's an equal exchange of energy.
Yeah.
And I was just blown away by that. And it's almost like one of my mottos now, or one of my, like, I don't know if you could, whatever you want to call it, like principles of life or
Yeah.
something. Yeah. So I really connect that to what you're saying, Crystal.
Absolutely. It is an equal exchange of energy, right? At the end of the day, like, there's so much, like, I can imagine if somebody were to have told me when I was 20 years old, when I was doing all the things, and they said to me, hey, Crystal, I could show you an easier way because I've done it before, I would have taken it.
Yeah.
I would have taken it. Maybe not right away,
I know. Yeah.
But there are so many people out there, right? There's so many people out there that have done things before us that are able to help us pave the way. And we can't look at that as something negative. Like,
No.
there's always been somebody that's done something.
That's
like,
true.
like, come on. There's still somebody that's making money on making light bulbs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So at the end of the day,
Yeah.
we just gotta do what we gotta do, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing non-original about what people are doing. You just gotta do what aligns your heart and move forward with it. And if I would have known what I know now back then, and somebody said that, hey, Crystal, you can come to this Tony Robbins event, for example, or and start learning about mindset, I probably would have done it, and it would have maybe changed a lot of things. But who knows? Maybe I wouldn't be where I am today.
Right, because I think because you kind of like went through the school of hard knocks in a very challenging way, like a lot of people. And I think what is the bright side of that, or the silver lining, is that you're able again to help others along their difficult journeys. And it's not like you were just like whistling Dixie the whole time.
No.
Everything was all roses and rainbows. No, I mean, you really went through some challenges, and I think that's where you can really lend so much support and a safe space and compassion for people.
Yeah, thank you. That's 100% what it is. My heart melts for my clients. I love them so much. Like, anybody who has ever joined any of my programs are forever in my heart. I'm truly grateful to them, as I'm sure that they're grateful for the work that we've done together. And again, the equal energy exchange is so incredible. And my goal is, I want to help more and more people, which is why I'm getting out there with the workshops. I want to be able to give people opportunities to start taking steps that, are bringing them into, possibly their new world, by changing the way that they look at their lives.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I think that takes us to my next question for you.
Go.
Which is regarding mindset and limiting beliefs and getting out of our comfort zone. How does that all play a part of what your clients come to you with, and how you help them? Because I know I personally have been coached to kind of get out of my comfort zone, to kind of ditch my limiting beliefs. So how does that all play in your arena, please?
That is like probably one of the biggest foundations, right? So a lot of people think, so we hear limiting beliefs, right? People don't believe that they have limiting beliefs,
right? Well, I didn't even realize that.
No, people have beliefs. Okay, we have beliefs, and the beautiful thing about beliefs is that beliefs have been created by us. They're not something that's ingrained in us forever. However, they've often been built upon circumstances that have forced you to create some sort of protection. So I'll give you a perfect example. When I was a little girl, I was the perfect little girl. My parents had all the right intentions. Crystal, you're the perfect little girl. You're so good. I'm so proud of you. Oh, you got all A's. I'm so proud of you. You're so perfect. You're the perfect big sister. They didn't have any ill will. There was no ill will.
I agree.
Okay?
I agree.
Jen says not believing you have limiting beliefs is the first limiting belief.
Okay, now that's a billboard and a t-shirt too.
That's a freaking t-shirt. I got to get that printed. Hold on. Can we screenshot this? Can I screenshot this? Oh yeah, I screenshotted it. Yes.
You can.
Okay, that's amazing. So I'm going to get that t-shirt. But again, so I ended up with a belief that I had to be perfect.
Yes.
So I needed to get
Miss Goody Two Shoes.
And I put the belief of being perfect, that it was associated with love.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
If I wasn't perfect, I wouldn't be loved.
Yes, I can relate to that.
Job, I wouldn't, oh, Luann, I can totally relate. The perfect big sister. Oh, Luann, yes, I know. Girl, I know.
Me too.
And we it's not a negative belief, but it puts limitations on us. Yeah. And it puts limitations on us in the way that I did my job. I always had to be perfect. I had to work the 60 hours to be able to get the bonus at the end of the year, because if I didn't, then I wouldn't get the bonus. And then everything was tied to that carrot on the end of being accepted and being loved. When we can break free of beliefs, systematic beliefs that we've come up with inside of ourselves, we could actually change it. So here, a lot of, maybe some of the viewers know this, maybe some of them that don't know it, but we are fully, 95% of what we do is controlled by our subconscious.
Yeah.
95.
That's a scary statistic though. For me, I don't like that statistic at all.
Nobody does. But here's the thing, you have power in that statistic, because you have control over 5%. That 5%, the things you tell yourself, the things that you think, the things that you do, the actions that you take, the fears that you have, once you start mastering that 5%, you're reprogramming the 95%. And so
man, that's a relief to know.
It is. So the thing is that until you actually make that realization that the things that you're doing are because of things that were known in the past, not just by you, but by your parents, by your grandparents, by their ancestors.
Oh, that's a good one. Generations. I love that you're bringing up that point.
There's generational trauma inside of our cells, inside of our genetic makeup. The things that and once we realize that we do have control over that 5%.
I love that 5%.
It goes into the cells, and we can reprogram ourselves to changing the way that we look at things. And so from the opportunity of that 5% turns into the new mindset. Because your beliefs,
that's beautiful.
Your beliefs help to structure the mindset. When you believe something is possible, everything becomes possible. We find a way to make it happen.
Yeah.
But again, it comes from within ourselves.
Yeah.
And so, everything that I do with my clients, it does come down to it. A lot of us, I have some people that work really deeply on limiting beliefs. I have some people that work on it a little bit more, surface level, that they somehow, they're like, oh, hey, this works. But again, a program like mine is very, it's client driven. We're not gonna do something if it doesn't feel good, because everybody's journey is their own journey. And whether they're ready for it now or they're ready for it later, it will come when it's time for you to be ready for it.
I love that.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, because what I'm picking up from what you're laying down too, and I really love this, is too, it's like you go at their own pace. Obviously, of course, you're there to hold it in, quote unquote,
nudge things along if needed.
Right. But I mean, what I love, and of course, it's all customized. Everyone's life is unique. But I really like that point you're making. Like, we may not be ready to do it today. I think just the fact that you're planting seeds is percolating back there, and that whole thing about the 5%,
Yeah. And it's crazy. Once that was a mind-blowing statistic for me. Like, if I told you that 95%, like, everything that you do is controlled by 95% of what you don't even realize, how are you going to feel? Nobody feels good knowing that they're just working on autopilot. No, nobody feels good working on autopilot. And so we, again, back to the only person you have control over is yourself. And so therefore you have control over what goes on in here.
Yeah.
And if you want that 5% to start talking to the 95%, we have to give it new things to think about. We have to give it new ways to believe. So something as simple as, like, nobody's going to pay for my program is going to turn into, somebody is going to pay for my program because it's right for them. And
it's beautiful.
It might not happen today. It might happen in a month. Like, again, it's all about the energetic match to what it is that you're putting out there.
I love that. And so that takes us also to my next question, Crystal, which is, you mentioned earlier on in our conversation a couple of the, I guess, challenges that your clients come to you with, like maybe relationships or maybe like, entrepreneurial challenges.
Yep.
What are one or two other, I guess, main challenges that your clients have come to you with?
Oh, they don't have time for anything. We don't have
Time.
time. I don't
Yeah.
have time to take care of myself. I don't have time to do all the things. Like, how am I supposed to get, how am I supposed to do a workout 5 days a week? Well,
Yeah.
you don't have to start doing a workout 5 days a week. And that's the thing, right? Like, again, going back to the small steps, big wins,
Yeah.
starting really back at the basics, because if we put our standards for ourselves up here, we're
Yeah.
only leaving room for disappointment.
Yeah.
But if we set the standards here, under promise and over deliver, you need to do that with yourself.
I
Give
love
yourself an
that.
opportunity to find success in the things that you're doing. So every
Mm.
single little thing that you are doing in your journey is something that's going to get you to the next step. So I've had people to come to me in burnout. I've had people come to me for burnout for multiple reasons, like
Yeah.
whether it's because of their family. I've had people
Yeah.
come to me with grief.
Oof, that's a big one. Big
That's a
one.
huge one. Grief is a big one because, again, like, there's a lot of forgiveness that it takes. There's a lot of, you can't necessarily, sometimes the person's no longer there for you.
No.
So we've done, I've done a lot of really amazing activities where, we've done anger letters, because we need to, emotions, right?
Releasing.
People hold their emotions inside of themselves. And I was one of those people too. I never showed people that I was sad. I was always strong. I was always the big sister. I took care of everybody. I protected my mother, my sister, my brother, and all the while I was basically taking the oxygen mask off of me and putting it on somebody else. And
Yes.
that's probably one of the biggest detriments. And so, learning how to release anger, learning how to hold that anger and move through it, because, again, there are stages, right, that we move through in any kind of emotion. And for some people it takes, they got to go through those stages of grief.
Yeah.
Some people don't necessarily have to, but each person, like I said, is very different, and
Yeah.
I help them to move through those things with many different modalities.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing up grief, because I think, at least from my personal experience, I along my life's journey, I think I didn't even realize that I hadn't finished, or I wouldn't say that we will ever finish grieving, certain people and certain circumstances, but I did realize along my life's journey that I really hadn't given myself that grace and that space to actually progress along the grieving process, if you will, and that can really hinder a lot of other areas. So I really appreciate you bringing that
Well,
up.
that kind of ties into stress, right? Because when we're holding on to an emotion like grief and pain of loss, it balls inside of us, and it actually just, like, it starts again. As much as the good things turn into the snowball effect, so do the bad things, right?
Ooh.
So we focus on the negative, it comes into the negative, it goes on to the next, and that domino effect, or the snowball effect, whatever you want to call it, it just keeps increasing. And so, that's why I say, when people come to me for stress, they come to me for so many different things. It could be grief, it could be their career, it could be their family, it could be their education. They don't know what the heck they're doing. I've had, 17-year-old girls with so much stress about their education and what they're going to do after they finish college.
A lot of pressure
like,
out there.
I have to be this by this age, and I have to finish university by this date. And I'm just like, okay. Let's.
A very good point.
And so, again, stress can come from anywhere. We just have to figure out where it's coming from. And so, we tackle a lot of those areas of our lives. We take a look from the outside lens looking in, and we evaluate each area of our lives to figure out what we would rate. Like, if I were to ask you on a scale of 1 to 10 right now, where's your creativity?
For me, I would say an 8.
Okay, so that's really good. For me, when I started my journey, if I would be lying if I didn't want to tell you I wanted to give myself a 0.
Yeah.
I wanted to give myself a 0 because I felt like I wasn't creative. I'd never done anything creative, and, like, I don't have a creative bone in my body. But believe it or not, that's something that's helped me. That's been a modality that has helped me move through other parts of my life.
Yeah.
Through increasing that area.
Yeah.
And I didn't
it's very freeing.
I needed it.
It's very freeing. Yeah. And I think because what you were talking about earlier too, I think you were just trying to please everybody else. So you were not really, like, living from your own creative energy. You were trying to fulfill other people's expectations.
Exactly. Absolutely. And so
Which
today I can
a
say
lot
that
of us
I'm
do
like
that.
up there with an 8 and a 9, and that's only like a 2.5, 3 year difference. That's a huge difference between where I was and where I've come to. Same thing like spirituality. A lot of people, are very hung up on spirituality. They don't know how to express themselves in their love of God or the universe or whatever it is that they believe in. And, for me, that was something that was very, very challenging for me. My spirituality was a huge challenge, and I would say it was probably at a 1. Today, again, my relationship with my spirituality and God has completely changed. And I can tell you
Yeah.
that like I'm up there with the 8s, 9s, and 10s.
Yeah,
But again, it takes work. And there are days
it
that it's still going
does.
to be at a 5. And it's
Yes.
okay. So
Yes.
that's one of the modalities that we do is we take a look at the circle of things in your life, and we evaluate them to see if there are imbalances that we can, start with. This is where we start. Doesn't mean it's where we stay. We could start in one session today. We're going to work on this and turns into something completely different. But that's the magic of a coaching program.
I agree. So tell us, please, about your stress less breakthrough offering.
Yes. Okay. So I love that because here's the thing. Like when you're doing work with a coach, you want to be able to make sure that there's synergy. You want to be able to, I know for me, I want to get to know my coach before I meet them. So if I have the opportunity to sit on a call for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes to really like understand, to get them to understand, because it's not every person that is going to connect with every person. And so, if you're one of those people that are feeling called to have a conversation with me because you're like, oh, wow, like very interesting. I offer a 45-minute, it's like a free session. It's not just like the interview process. We
Yeah,
actually do work.
yeah, yeah.
I will
So they
actually
get
support
something
you.
out of it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a completely free
Yeah.
session. I'll also tell you obviously about my programs. I'll explain how it all works and stuff like that. But it's a session for you to start that snowball rolling. And whether it's only that one session that you need,
Right.
great, amazing. Take it and run with it and do everything that you feel that you need to do with that moving forward. And so, yeah, so I have a link in my bio actually, and I have a couple of time slots that are still available in the coming weeks. But feel free, just take up on the offer, like talk to me. Let's talk about you and how you're feeling and how, what areas of your life that you want to make improvements on. And I can give you maybe 1 or 2 tips and you can be on your way, or you can decide that you want to work with me, and then
Right.
you'll be forever in my heart as well.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned, you've already talked to us a little bit about any future projects, but I wanted to give you the opportunity just to, let us know if there are any specific future projects that you want to share at this time.
Yeah, so there's the 2 projects that I kind of mentioned coming up. It's going to be in probably late June. I'm working on the launch program right now. I'm working on the launch plan, getting all of that stuff together because there's a whole thing that goes on when you're launching a program, which I never really mastered. So I'm working on mastering that myself right now. Fun times. So that's going to be happening in late June. It's the self-care workshop. It's really
Yeah,
a self-love workshop. It's really like the part of the
love that.
foundational tools that I use with my clients. And it's going to be a 2-hour workshop. We're going to
Nice.
have worksheets. We're going to work together. You'll have the opportunity to ask questions specifically about yourself. There's going to be a replay that's going to be made available. It's actually going to be $44. So it's very, it's a very
Affordable.
affordable price. Anybody can come. I'm going to give, actually, first 5 people that reach out to me in my messages and say that they want in, I will give you 5 free slots. Okay, so I will make sure that you are on there and you will get the actual workshop for free. So please go ahead, DM me. I want to be able to touch as many people as possible. That's my goal. I have something on my wall that says that I want to be helping and inspiring more than 100,000 people by this time next year.
Oh la la.
And
Well,
so,
brava to
and now
you.
I am declaring it to all of Instagram.
I love it. No, and like you're manifesting it
I'm
too. I
staring at
love
I'm
that.
looking at my wall right now, and who I am is my word, and I declare that I am touching, helping, and inspiring more than 100 people's lives on or before June 13th, 2023.
Beautiful. And so it is.
And so it is. So it is said, so it is done.
Oh, I love
Yeah. So thank you for allowing me to be able to drop in my beautiful manifestation here.
Totally. And is there anything else you want to tell us about your oxygen program? I mean, again, I just applaud you just for the names
I
of these
know.
programs. They're so powerful.
Thank you so much. And honestly, that's one of my I would say my not my it's not a weakness. It's something that like I actually am like I feel like I don't get the names right. But oxygen came to
No,
me in the
those are
middle of the night.
powerful.
Oxygen came to me in a download in the middle of the night, and I woke up and I'm like, it's called oxygen, and I'm like, I wrote down everything. And so it's going to be a group program. I think I'm going to be limiting it to 10 slots. It's going to start in July, like I said, so I'm working out the details of that. I will probably be launching it right after I launch, right after the workshop. So it will be, I'll go into launch mode again, talking about that program. And I'm envisioning a 6-week program, 6-week group coaching program with men and women, 10 people maximum. And I believe that one is going to be a quarterly program.
Nice.
That's what I'm thinking.
Nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So,
and so go ahead.
No, go. I was just running on my sentences there.
No. This is awesome. And so tell everybody, please, what are the best ways for people to contact you for information, collaboration, questions, comments, etc.?
Drop me a DM. That's probably the easiest way. You can, any way that's good for you. You can call me. You can message me on Facebook. You can message me on Instagram. You can book a breakthrough session. Just in the breakthrough session, you can put a message in there. You want to do a collab, who knows, whatever it may be. I'm really open to, having the opportunity to speak to more and more people about what I do and how I help people. Because I think at the end of the day, we all need that guiding hand in being able to reduce our stress. Hi, awesome.
Hi, Jyoti. Yeah, and you know what I love about what you just said too? Like I heard someone say a while back, it's almost like we're all walking each other home. And I feel like that's like what you're doing. Like you were saying, we all need help along the way. And that's kind of one of my mottos, in life too. Like we're all walking each other home. We're all in this together.
Yeah,
so,
we're all in this together. Exactly.
I agree. And so before I ask you, Crystal, to give us your final thoughts to wrap this up and put a bow on it, I want to thank you so very much, Crystal, for taking the time. I'm very, very inspired. I have a lot of food for thought going on here based on our conversation. I really want to, thank everyone who joined in live or on the replay. All the comments and the good energy was just very, very beautiful. And, so I just really, really applaud you for going with the flow here with all the comments and questions here, Crystal. And so, yes, I'm going to ask you for your final thoughts, please. So just wrap this up and put a bow on it for us, please.
I will say, first of all, thank you. I truly appreciate the opportunity. It's been actually a little over a year since I've done a collaboration. And so this is especially a collaboration like this on Instagram Live. So I'm really, really honored that you asked me to be here. I will just say this. We have the power to make all the changes that we desire. We just need to take the first step. Sometimes you need that helping hand. You need somebody that's going to be able to, hold the space for you, be your light. People have called me sunshine in human form, and let me be sunshine in human form for you.
I love that. Oh my gosh, that was just the perfect bow to wrap this up with. And so what I am going to do now with that ray of sunshine is I am going to save this to IGTV, my stories and my feed, and then I'm going to message you after.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you everybody for joining. Love you so much. I appreciate the support from all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Crystal, and thank you everybody. Take good care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.